Dice Tower Tonight, episode 94.
Ready, set, collect.
Welcome to Dice Tower Tonight, a video cast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them. On tonight's show, gotta catch 'em all. We appeal to the collector side of our personality by talking about set collection games. Also, I'm going up against the chat in a game. We run through some titles we've played lately, and we answer questions from the audience live. I'm Eric Summerer, and joining me now, the Misty to my Ash, it's Crystal Dax.
Even though I am not super knowledgeable about Pokemon, I do know that that is where those come from.
There you go. See, that was an easy one.
Yeah. I mean, Ash, I think, is a pretty unique name. If you had just said Misty and like somebody else, I probably wouldn't have gotten it. But Ash clued me in.
I was considering Misty and Brock. I always liked Brock. He talks like this, and I just like that voice. It's cool.
And maybe wanted to hang out for a minute, although she probably won't stay too long.
So we were saying right before we started here, Crystal, that we have a busy show tonight. We already sort of mentioned our idea for our discussion topic, talking about set collection games. We've got a game to play with the chat, but we also have some show and tell. And I think you have the most complicated technical setup, so I'm going to let you go first and show off what you've been working on over the past couple weeks.
Okay, so you're going to see nothing from my camera for a second because I don't want to show the mess that is my house, but I am going to walk away from my computer.
Oh my.
So we're going to transition over to my hand covering a camera lens, which I know that's super exciting.
Ooh.
And I'm going to walk away. And then, let's see here.
What'll it be, folks? I don't know. Actually, I do know. Here we go. Ah, look at that. I'm actually going to give you a full screen here.
It's my new shelf!
Crystal's yelling because she's across the room from the microphone.
Yeah, I'm a few rooms over.
But those are looking great.
I'm really excited.
I love it. I also love the 6 copies of Strike that I was making fun of you earlier. Oh, one disappeared.
One might be part of our discussion later.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna turn it back to me.
That's excellent. And if I'm not mistaken, you have some cool lights that are accents on the shelves as well, correct?
I do. I bought some LED strips and put them along the back and sides of the 2 Kallaxes together. And they're app controlled, so like I can change the colors from an app, which means like in theory, if I wanted to, like if we were playing a game and like things got really scary, I could change the lights to red or make them flash like strobe things.
Or like the weakest link.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, there's only 5 copies of Strike on the shelf right now because one of them is in here with me at the moment.
See. So I don't have anything quite as dramatic as my shelves are still out of stock at IKEA. So I think I hinted about this some time ago, but we transitioned to another smaller project, an accessory cabinet to hold all of the baggies and dice and Hugo's amazing tape and all the, little things that have been collecting in boxes and bags all over the place. And I finally needed to do something with it. And so we found, let's bring up the graphic here. We found this cabinet. The left side is the way I got it. It's sort of a distressed 13-drawer cabinet. And it's got this faux distressed look that my wife despised. She hated the look of this cabinet. So she looked at some painting tutorials and looked at techniques and stuff. And the finale, the result, is what it looks like now on the right, where we've got all the drawers all the same color. And she did this faux finish on the top that sort of matches the IKEA shelves. So it looks like a wood grain. And that is the current cabinet. And so now the top shelf is 3 different sizes of baggies. And then I've got rubber bands and tape in the next one. I've got pens and paper in another. What's in the center one? I've forgotten what the center one is. There's a dice drawer. There will be a sort of random components drawer. There's a sleeves drawer. That little tiny one in the bottom corner is where the sleeves go, and they're sort of all lined up in color order and stuff. I had a lot more packages of sleeves than I thought I did, which is, I keep like buying little packs of black sleeves. Turns out I've got maybe 6 packs of black sleeves. I don't need any more of those. But I'm sort of gradually filling that cabinet and figuring out what I need to do. And you can tell by the hardware, I'm going to be able to print out labels like a card catalog and actually place them on the drawers. So it can say, bags, medium, bag. Oh, cloth bags are in one of the drawers as well.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm excited.
You're going to need your own Dewey Decimal System.
Yes. Oh, that's only if I need a second of these cabinets, which I don't think Steph's willing to do. But I'm excited to have some organization of all these little things and figure out and have them ready, handy when I am playing something and it's like, well, do we have baggies for this or a rubber band or the little fickle finger of fate, the little spinny thing to decide first player. I know exactly where that is. Oh, coins. That's the one I couldn't remember. Fake money. I've got a deck of money and I've got some coins for currency and stuff like that, all in one of those other drawers. So it's all ready to go, and I'm excited to have my cabinet. Now I just need people to come over and play games.
That's pretty awesome. And now I'm kind of like, ooh, maybe I should get a cabinet. Because I have kind of a bunch of like little random things that sometimes just get thrown in random places, or like I'll have a spare game bag from a convention that I just kind of toss a bunch of stuff in. But I am not a well-organized person, but I wish I was. So when I see something like that and hear you describing what's in every drawer, my heart just goes, yes, I want that.
It's kind of exciting. I've been waiting because of the painting. We had to let it dry and cure and stuff. And so I haven't been able to organize yet. And I have like work to do. I should not be spending as much time as I have been organizing things. But it's so much fun to I can stick some Plano boxes in some of those larger drawers. And so I've got organization within the organization. It's great. It's exciting.
Nick in the chat said instead of a Dewey Decimal System, it would be a Summerer Selection System.
Nice. I need a little, like a little listing, a card catalog or something that I can, organize stuff.
Absolutely. Well, that's really cool, and you all did a spectacular job on it.
I'm excited, and now there's more painting projects on the horizon. Now that she's excited about that one, she's like, okay, now I'm going to do some art for the wall, and so yeah, I'm excited. But we should probably talk about some games that we've actually played in the last few weeks. Crystal, you want to go first?
Absolutely. I recently, Pandasaurus needed to clear some space out of their warehouse, and they had a sale. And I may have taken full advantage of said sale and ended up with 7 new games from them. I have played 3 of those games so far, although one of them I've already played in the past. So the games that I played are Pass Tally, Mental Blocks, and Umbrovia, which is their newest title. And it's real pretty, I have to say. So Umbrovia is a blind bidding area control game, but in an abstract sense. So in the game, players are trying to collect energy flowers, and they're using energy flowers to collect soul flowers. Wait, really?
Yeah.
Looky there. Are you talking about it today too? Are we both talking about it?
Yes.
We're both talking about it. That's super exciting. We never do that.
Energy flowers and soul flowers. Please continue. I will be your visual aid.
No, you can. Yes, that's wonderful.
I'll be your Vanna.
Fun fact, chat. We don't often discuss what we're going to be talking about before the episode. No. We just I played a game. So the bidding in this game is one of the most interesting things to me because tiles will come out, 4 tiles to be specific, and then you get to blindly bid on which of those tiles you want to have the opportunity to place. Eric is holding up the board where the tiles will be placed that you're going to be bidding on, and I'm holding up the board where the tiles will eventually get laid down. And the tiles all have paths on them that look like roads, so to speak. Yeah, they're all different shapes. And have different pathing on them. And everybody blind bids on which of the tiles they want the power to place, and also which, when they bid on it, those energy flowers that get bid get put onto the tiles themselves. That's important because you bid twice. So a round of blind bidding happens, and then you reveal, place the flowers on the tiles, and you see who has majority on each one. And then you do it again. So it's really interesting because, like, if there's a tile that you really think you want to place, you might want to bid a lot on it. But if you bid a lot on it right away, then people know you want it. They may go bid for it after the fact. So there's a little bit of an interest there, more so than a lot of bidding games, at least for me, in the second round of bidding. Once you win a tile and get to place it, it will go onto the board, and you are trying to complete paths on the board. And paths are completed when they have no openings anymore. And that can mean they're either butted up against the side of the board or other tiles. You can basically place tiles however you want. They don't have to match up with the tiles around them. And then once a path is completed, it scores, and whoever has the most energy flowers on that path will get to claim soul flowers equal to the number of tiles in the path if they are first place. Second place will get half of the number of tiles in soul flowers. And you have a certain number of soul flowers that you are trying to collect, and whoever collects all of their soul flowers plus 2 first wins the game. I will let Eric talk a little bit about it now.
So, I mean, Umbrovia is sort of an odd game. It's a hard one to categorize because it's got a little bit of area control as you're fighting over these paths, fighting over control of those paths once they're on the board. But the bidding is so unique. You mentioned the 2 rounds of bidding and the energy flowers and soul flowers. The energy flowers are worth 1 point for bidding. The souls are worth 2 points, but they don't stick around. So they're very powerful for bidding, but they aren't going to help with area control. So they're good for being able to position the tile where you want, but not necessarily good for wresting control of a path from someone else. And that is a very difficult line to ride, I think. And one of the reasons why I haven't really figured this game out yet. I kept trying to, jump in and take control of a large path that people were winning, but I couldn't figure out how to do that with a powerful bid and yet still have the positioning to stay ahead of someone. Because all of the energy flowers, all of the energy flowers that get bid on a particular tile go onto the board, whether they won the bid or not. So I could win the bid with a couple of soul flowers and only one of my energy flowers, but then somebody else has 3 of their energy flowers coming along for the ride, and while I won the bid 5-3, they have 3 to my 1 going onto the board. And maybe I don't want to place that where I thought it was going to put it, because now I'm not going to have control of that completed path. And having second place in a path that's only 1 or 2 tiles long is painful. Because you get almost nothing out of it, especially if it's a single tile. You get 0 if you come in second. So my usual strategy in something like this, where I'm trying to spread out and be second place in a lot of things, really doesn't work out too well if it's a bunch of short paths. But if somebody is building a giant path where they're going to get a ton of soul flowers when they complete that path, you can start working to do a bunch of short ones and try and catch up to them, because it is a race. And if it takes them a long time to complete, to block off all the paths, you might be able to jump ahead. There's a lot to explore here and a lot to wrestle with, I think.
Absolutely. I think it is one of those games that if you played it with the same people over and over again, it would get even potentially more interesting because of the meta that would develop. Like, once you know somebody's bidding style or how they typically tend to play, kind of as you said, going for big long paths or going for short, quicker paths, I think it could actually make the game even more dynamically interesting. But even on a first play, and my friend and I played it 2-player, and when you are playing with 2 players, there is a third AI player, which I know some board gamers are steadfastly against in board games, and no judgment there. But the AI was really easy in this instance. Basically, the AI has flowers that go into each person's bag that you can theoretically draw out, and then you get to bid the AI's flowers along with yours. And the AI can also win control of routes, and then if their soul flowers run out, it speeds up the game. We didn't get anywhere near that. Like, the AI was winning almost none of the paths when we were playing.
Right.
But it was an easy thing to incorporate, and it did not take away from the experience for us, at least. So as far as if you see that the 2-player rules have an AI and that bothers you, just know that it's pretty easy to integrate, and it didn't seem to take away from anything for us.
Yeah, it's sort of a partial AI because you can use the neutral flowers for bidding power, which is great. And
that's pretty unique, I would say. That's not common.
That is cool. And we sort of skipped over the fact that the reward you get for completing these paths is these soul flowers that go into your bag. So you suddenly get more bidding power into your bag. But when you use those soul flowers, not only do they not go on the board, they are out of the game. So you will no longer have those. The energy flowers go back into your draw bag, but the soul ones go away after you use them. So you have to be a little judicious. I guess you can't really choose whether you use them or not because you draw 3 flowers on a round. You have to use them all. But it does change the dynamic of what you're expecting to pull out of your bag.
Absolutely. And kind of what you were saying earlier, the better you're doing in the game early on, the more of your soul flowers are going to go into your bag, and therefore the likelihood of you drawing soul flowers increases, which can help you win those bids, but will not help you claim additional routes or paths. So it's really like, I'm not a formal game designer. I can't speak to the balancing of a game like this, but in my mind, it feels like it does a good job of ensuring that the people who are ahead don't just stay ahead guaranteed, because there are some games where once you're ahead, it's really hard for another player to catch up. But I think in this game, that little bit of interest makes it so the other players have more of a chance to claim paths. In theory, obviously, it's still a blind draw out of your bag, but yeah.
A couple of minor quibbles on my part. We showed off the purple flowers. You've got sort of the full hued color and then a pastel version of that color that are the soul flowers. Yeah. And so those are the purples. These are the blues. And while you can, when they're next to their more strong counterpart, you can easily tell them apart. But when you have the pastel purple and the pastel blue next to each other, it can get a little tricky as to what color is which. We had some trouble realizing, wait, is that purple or blue? When bids are revealed and placed out on tiles and stuff. I wish they were a little clearer as to which is which. My other complaint, they make a big deal when you put tiles out onto that bidding board that you should not turn them. And because they want, a particular tile that comes out like this is supposed to go on the board like this. You're not allowed to rotate it when you place it on the board. Sure, that makes sense. However, if I took that to mean line all these up so that it says Umbrovia and do not rotate them. And so I was putting all of them on the board, exactly drawing them off the top of the deck. So all of the curves in the game are oriented like this in relation to the logo. So we ended up with all of this turn. It never did this because they're all like this. Same with the T's and the straights. The straights too. So if you have Umbrovia, it is always up and down if you flip it like that. And so we went all the way through the first draw deck and went, why are there no turns going the other way? Why are there no horizontal straights? Because they made such a big deal about do not turn them. I straightened them all up and said that they need to go. I thought it was a particular distribution or what. No, you should shuffle these up, twist a few of them, shuffle them, and then don't turn them so that you do get a mix of directions. We fixed it. It was a minor problem, but I wish they were a little clearer in saying this is how it's supposed to work.
I mean, or really just, like, you don't need to have the name of the game on the backs of the tiles. Like, there really isn't much of a purpose in... I mean, my assumption is that they really liked the artwork for the game box, and they were like, well, let's put it in other places, and they already had this asset. But yeah, we did not make that mistake, but I can easily see how players would make that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yep. You pulled up one of the special tiles. Did you play with the special tiles when you played through?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some of these that don't work like standard paths. They have you getting to place flowers on the empty space on the board, or all the flowers on that tile get spread to other tiles. Neat little twists on a few of them, and that mixes it up a little bit. I think that's a fun thing to throw into the mix pretty early.
Absolutely. But I mean, as far as abstract-ish games go, I like this one quite a bit. This is the type of game I like having in my collection. Pretty easy to teach, relatively quick to play, but some interesting stuff to do within the game itself.
Yeah, I think I'm struggling with it just a little bit more. I need to play it again and see if I have any control whatsoever, or if this isn't my style of game. But
Okay.
it is a unique game, and one that sort of stretches the way that some of these popular mechanisms work. So I think that's a great thing. Umbrovia
Absolutely.
is the name of the game.
Yeah, and that's from Pandasaurus.
We seriously did not talk about this at all. The designer is Connor Wake.
Has Connor designed any other games? The name is not super familiar to me.
I'm not sure. I think I've seen Twitter posts from him being super excited about this particular design. So it's an early one for sure for Connor. I have not looked
Okay.
to see if they've done anything else.
Very cool. Well, the only other I did want to mention one other game before we move on from our recently played section, and I will not talk about it at length because of spoilers. But that is the new Chronicles of Crime 1900. So this is Chronicles of Crime set in 1900.
I never
And
would have
instead of I know, right? And instead of being a police officer, you are a newspaper reporter. And I think that little bit is pretty interesting. Like, you're tracking down leads. Like, a murder happened, and you're not going to solve the case for the sake of arresting a person. You're going to solve the case because of the interesting story behind it. So that is interesting. There is a new thing in this game that was not in the original base game, and that is there are puzzle cards that are larger than the regular cards in the game that you get to pull at certain times when the app tells you, and they add some interesting stuff to the game itself. But basically, the gist of this is, if you enjoy Chronicles of Crime and you want more, this is an easy pickup. It is very similar to the base game, a little bit of new stuff, but cool new cases. I've only played one of the new cases so far, but yeah, if you like Chronicles of Crime, this one's going to be an easy get. I will admit, I'm more excited about the one that's coming out that's set in the future. I don't remember what the year on that one is. Is it like 2400 or something?
I don't know, but yeah.
I'm curious to know what they're going to do with that one, but I do like this one quite a bit so far.
So, no spoilers, but is there a newsy character you can talk to?
I mean, not in the scenario that I played.
Singing, dancing newsboy?
No,
Yeah.
no singing, dancing newsboy yet, but maybe they come up. I will say a lot. Hold on, I have to show you. Like, so many of the characters are like a little bit too similar looking. Hold on, I'm gonna pull like. Oh, there's 4. Let me see if I can get like well, we'll grab these 4. Like, here's a guy. Here's another guy.
Okay.
Here's another guy.
Hey.
And here's a 4th one. Like, I have to say, when we and like all of these were showing up in a single scenario, and I was like, okay, wait, which one was this again? Like, they're all white dudes with mustaches, and there's not a whole lot different between them. I mean, yes, their clothes are different, but like, that's not what you're looking at when you look at these cards.
It's like one of those exit puzzles where you're given a very specific description of someone. He's got a scar over his right cheek, and he squints a little, and you got to pick out the one in the lineup.
Yeah, like, oh, his mustache curls up quite a bit. Okay, sure. So that might be like, but they all have numbers on them, and you can look in the app to see who is who if you need to. But yeah, I will say that gave us a little bit of trouble. I was like, I don't remember which one Samuel is. Like. So
Cora Lou is wondering if, because of my my interest in the singing, dancing newsboy, if I played a singing, dancing newsboy in the expansion. No, No, I did not. But that would be a surprise, wouldn't it?
Oh, Mad Slanted Powers makes a good point. Everyone in 1900 looked the same. Clearly, that's the answer. They're just staying true to history there.
Yes. All right.
All right, Eric.
We should play a game, I think. What do you think?
I would love to play a game.
Let's play a game. So we have played a number of word games over the episodes here on Dice Tower tonight. And I decided to go back to sort of a classic. One that is often called a progenitor of a lot of these games that we've enjoyed here on the show, like Just One. We're going to play Password.
Ooh, okay.
Have you ever played the home game of Password, Crystal?
I have not.
Have you watched episodes of Password?
Yes.
Okay. Very basically, very straightforward word game. There is a password, and ordinarily it's played in two partners. So we'd have, say, me and Crystal and Mandy and Suzanne. And then I would give a clue to Crystal, and if she got it, we get full points. But then Mandy would give a clue to Suzanne for the same word. So, like, Mandy and I are both looking at the clue or the password itself, and we're giving clues for the same word. And for each clue that is given, the number of points go down just a little bit. And then whoever actually succeeds in getting the correct answer gets the points. The trick is building off of each other's clues. Like, do I build off of what Mandy just said, or do I go a different direction because you're not going to follow that line of reasoning? So we are going to play with me against the chat. Crystal, you are going to guess for both of us. I am going to give a clue. Then chat is going to give a clue. And we'll see who is able to get you to guess the password. Okay. That is the plan.
So
We've never done this before, so we're going to see how well it works.
We have not. So I am going to hide the chat then.
You will definitely need to do that. Now, some might suggest that, Eric, you've looked through the card you're going to use, and you've had a chance to sort of work ahead here. That is not what we're going to do. We're going to make this as fair as possible. I've got 4 cards here, Crystal, and it uses red lens technology. Would you like 21A, 22A, 22B, or 25A?
25A.
25A. So that is the set of cards we're going to use. And I'm going to ask you to pick a number between, say, 6 and 10. That's the number in the chat that we're going to go with for their clues.
Let's go with number 7. Lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7 for chat. So what's going to happen? And would you like chat to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Let's let you go first, so that way the people who are in the chat and have never played Password can see how it's done, so to speak.
That sounds good. Okay, so I have just put the card into the red lens detector. In a moment, I'm going to type what the password is into chat. So that
I have everything hidden, including your video, in case you need to...
Video you should be okay with.
Oh, video I'm okay? Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So I will give the first clue. That will be worth 10 points if I can get Crystal to guess the word right away. If she doesn't get it from me, I will say, let's see, what am I going to say for chat to sort of give us a trigger? I'll just say 9-point clue or something, just go. And then we'll take the 7th clue that you give. Please type in all caps. It makes it easier for me to see the clues. Clues need to be a single word, much like Just One. They can be proper nouns. And then I will try and read it as best I can and be fair in how I read it. And we'll see if Crystal can get it. And we'll see how many points we can get.
And the only thing I'm bummed about is we're not going to get somebody whispering, the password is.
Well, I mean, I can do that. So here we go.
So yes, I do have the chat hidden. I can't see.
Okay. You're also not allowed to use portions of the word or other forms of the word in the clue. So that's illegal. So my first clue is going to be crude.
Oil.
That's it. 10 points.
Okay.
So that was
easy peasy.
That was easy. So this is going to go really fast. Chat is going to get to go first on the next one.
Okay.
So word number 2. The password is... And chat gets to go first. Of course, we need to make sure we clear all of the clues for oil first. So otherwise it's going to be very confusing.
Oh, yeah.
So I was a big fan of the original Password. I've loved seeing the reboots and stuff come up. And Betty White was so good at Password. I don't know if you've ever seen Betty White play Password, but
I don't think I've ever gotten to.
Just a genius at it. Of course, it was her husband that hosted Password, Alan Ludden. But seeing her, she was on some of the reboots, and seeing her play was just so cool. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Your clue is inform.
Educate.
That's incorrect.
Okay.
For 9 points. So inform was the first clue. Alert.
Notify.
Notify is correct. We get 9 points.
Ooh.
All right. All right, chat. Time for round 3. The password is... All right. Untethered.
Free.
Nope.
I didn't think so, but that was all that came to my mind quickly.
Okay, so I said untethered, and Crystal said free. And we're going to start counting as soon as chat catches up. Oh, I should probably say when I type it in that my clue was...
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Your clue is phone.
Phone?
Phone.
Okay. Wireless.
Wireless is incorrect.
Oh, dang. I figured for untethered and phone, that would be, like, perfect.
Cordless.
Wi-Fi?
Nope.
How old is this game?
Not Wi-Fi, that's for sure.
Oh, I as soon as I said it, I was like, that's probably not smart.
All right, so this is going to be worth 7 points.
So untethered, phone, cordless.
And hyphenated words don't count. It has to be a single word, chat. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roam. Roam.
Roam. Like roaming on a phone. So like it's phone untethered, roam, and like long distance is what's coming to mind, but like that's not a word. Phone, what thing am I missing? Cordless. Mobile?
Mobile is right.
Okay.
Chat gets the points.
Okay.
That was good.
Yeah, and that's okay. That was good.
Some of the other words that came through, ambulatory. That was a good one.
Ooh.
RV trailer. A lot of people were saying Alabama to try and get you to do Mobile.
Ah.
All right, we're going to do... Do you want to do 4 words or 6 words? We should give Chad a chance to catch up, right?
Yeah, we got to do 6.
Okay.
We're good on time, too, so far. I think we're fine.
Chat has the first go on this one. The password is... Chat really likes you. Crystal rocks, they keep saying.
Really?
Yep.
Aw, Chad, I love you too.
All right, so this is for 10 points. Chat can catch up with this with a single clue win here. So I'm trying to think what to do on a second clue, because it sort of depends on what they do.
Right. Yeah, no, it's interesting that, like, you can't just pick one now because it really kind of does hinge on what the first one is.
All right, I'm starting to hear the click. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 5, 6, 7. Your clue is thought.
Bought, B-O-U-G-H-T?
Thought.
Thought, okay,
T-H-O-U-G-H-T.
Thought. Idea.
That's incorrect.
Ah, dang, I was like, come on, be like just.
Quasimodo.
I mean, Quasimodo is the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but none of those words. I don't know a whole lot about Quasimodo. And also, fun fact, Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of the few Disney movies that I've never seen. So if there's a reference there, I'll just say brain.
Brain is incorrect.
Okay.
8 points. The first one was thought. We had thought, then Quasimodo.
Yeah, thought and Quasimodo.
I'm hearing the clicks.
Hey, puppy.
Okay, I've got 1, 2. Here we go. 3, 4, 5. They're all the same. 6, 7. Okay.
Wow. Wow. Apparently I'm missing something.
Back.
Hunch. Oh my gosh.
Right. Yep.
It seems so obvious now, but for whatever reason, my brain just could not connect those two things. That's so funny. I was like, Hunchback of Notre Dame, there's nothing that relates to thought in there.
All right, so we're gonna see if let's do one tiebreaker, one more, because chat's trailing by just a little bit. So since they're trailing, should we let chat go first for word number 5?
Let's let chat pick. Chat, do you want to go first?
That is, the 5th word is traditionally a little trickier, but if they want to go first, that might be, or you can make me go first.
That's the thing. I think I would make the other person go first, and I would try and nail it on the second clue. I think that's what I would do. Take that chance. And if my opponent nails it on clue number 1, then they deserved the win anyway.
Ordinarily, a game of password is 10 words, so each group would get to go first 5 times.
Yeah.
I see Nick says second. They'd like to go second.
Okay.
Jerry says I can go first. All right, looks like I'm first. All right.
Okay.
The password is... All right, I'm trusting you here, chat. Okay. Yeah. I'm worried about where this one might go, chat. You know what? I'm vetoing the word. Just cuz. We'll
Oh,
explain later.
okay. Okay.
We'll explain later. The new password is...
Just
Yeah.
kidding. We have a new password.
Yes. All right, chat. Rocks.
Stones.
Stones is incorrect.
Okay.
9 points. Yeah, chat saying good choice. Oh, I get some booze. I'll explain later.
Maybe. Come here. Come here. There's nobody outside. It's okay. It's okay. Come here.
All right, I got 1. I've got 2. I've got 3. I've got... I hear the clicks. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Your clue is driveway.
Okay, so we've got rocks and driveway. Like what would be in a driveway that's rock related? It could be something like pebbles or concrete or asphalt, but like it feels like they're pebbles maybe? Wait, what was your word?
Rocks.
You said rocks and I said stones. Okay. I'll say pebbles.
Pebbles is incorrect.
Okay.
So...
Pavement? No. I'm just gonna...
What was their word? They said
driveway.
They said driveway.
You said rocks.
Yes. I will say... small.
Gravel?
Gravel is right.
Ah, okay.
Tommy kept saying
I was thinking
beg.
what is smaller than a pebble, and that's where, yeah.
Tommy was trying a sort of a sideways run at it with beg to get you to think grovel.
Oh. I don't think I would have made that connection, but maybe. Who knows?
That could have worked. It was a
Yeah.
good thought. And chat's like, "Are you sure you want to go with that?" He's like, "Yes." It looks like I win this particular round, but chat, you're going to get me next time because there are some very good clues flying by there.
Awesome job, chat. That
is
was fun. We should
password.
definitely play this one again.
This is one of my favorite couples games. It's a really fun, partnership mental exercise, but it is a lot of staring at each other. It's really bad if you get somebody that knows each other very, very well, though, because you get a lot of those 10-pointers as they just go, oranges, supermarket. And then it's like, what? 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 But that's classic password. Thank you, chat. Good job. And
Very nice.
So the word that I ditched was climax.
Ah.
And I wasn't sure where that was going to go, so we'll just...
I mean, apex.
Apex was one of the possible
Peak.
clues that came by.
Yeah, there's plenty of words.
They're saying that I stole their clue when I said small. It's entirely possible. I was trying not to do that. I was realizing that I had sort of an advantage getting like a whole brainstorm of clues going by.
Right.
I'm gonna have to start.
But there's really no other way to do it.
There really is. Anyway, we have a topic to discuss today. I was sort of being a little facetious at the beginning, saying "Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all." But I had the question, I put it up on Twitter, is Pokemon, not necessarily the card game, but the video game, a set collection game? because you're trying to catch them all, or at least maybe
I
trying to
mean,
catch all the fire Pokemon or the. Is it a set collection game, or am I just stretching the definition too much?
well, what's interesting is the thought experiment that my brain decided to go into when I was researching this topic is I went to the mechanism of set collection on Board Game Geek to look at games that are categorized with set collection as one of their mechanisms. And this is a little bit of hyperbole or exaggeration, but I think every game is a set collection game, apparently, because when you look up that mechanism, the list is vast, and there are so many games on there that I'm like, wait, that's not but it does have set collection in it. So I do think there is an interesting distinction between a set collection game and set collection within a game, because those two things aren't always the same. But for the purposes of Board Game Geek, that listing does make sense.
Sure, because it is certainly, I wouldn't argue, for example, Ticket to Ride has a significant set collection mechanism where you're collecting those cards and then playing 3 reds to put down a particular route on the board. But it's not the only element of that game. It's not the only focus of the whole thing.
Yep. Same thing with games like Sagrada or Role Player. Like those are dice drafting games, but you are collecting sets of particular types of dice, either via color or number. So yeah.
I wanted to go back on some of those more pure set collection games and recognize that, we all are probably very familiar with some of these set collection games because a lot of the classic card games that we have encountered, even before encountering designer board games, are set collection games. Rummy. I pulled out this old chestnut. Pit is a set collection game where you're racing to get a whole hand of a particular commodity. The dreaded Phase 10 is a set collection game. You're exchanging cards, collecting cards, trying to get a particular combination of cards, and then you will score by completing that phase in order to advance in the game. This is another one I love, Bonanza. The bean farming game. You're collecting and farming rows of these beans, and the more you collect, the more money it's going to be worth. And you have sort of these thresholds that you're trying to reach. So maybe 4 of a particular bean will get you 2 coins, but 7 will get you 3 coins. So the 5th and the 6th one, not that important, but that 7th is very important. And the differing value, which is what makes a lot of these set collection games interesting in the way they play out, is this differing value between something might be worth a lot to me, but not so much to you. But it's worth a lot to me. So you can sort of, needle me a little bit in what I'm going to give you in exchange for that thing.
Absolutely. And I don't own regular Bonanza, but I do own Werfel Bonanza, the dice version of that game.
Werfel Bonanza is a great game. I know you have a copy of this one, though.
I don't own it.
You don't have it?
I don't own it. Okay, so we've talked about this before on the show, but I'll reiterate for anybody who didn't hear this story. Like, I grew up playing Rummy Cube with my grandparents, my mom's parents, and loved that game. Hadn't played it in years and years and years. And then after my grandma passed away, my sister claimed the custom wooden box that my grandpa had made to hold the Rummy Cube tiles. And admittedly, she also loves Rummy Cube, and and she's got kids, so it makes sense. But nobody asked me, and I'm the board gamer in the family. Gosh darn it! But needless to say, at PAX Unplugged in 2019, Nick Baker, who's a friend of mine and shows up in the chat sometimes, and I went into their room that had all of the old board games in it, and I saw Rummy Cube, and I was like, I haven't played this since I was a kid. I want to see if it holds up. Holy heck, it does. It's so fun, and I need to get my own copy of it, truthfully. Like, I want that game back in my collection.
There's a group in New York, pre-pandemic, used to do outdoor board gaming in, I want to say Bryant Park, one of the parks, and a local board game group would go out every Saturday, bring tubs of games, and play outdoor stuff. And we showed up to see what they were doing, and they're like, let me teach you a game, and they pulled out Rummy Cube to play with the kids, and it still holds up. It's a lovely little game, but it is certainly set collection. You're trying to get runs and triples and quads and stuff, and then rearranging those sets. That's the fun part, is rearranging them to try and get a better collection to use the tiles you want to use.
Absolutely.
Really tricky game.
For sure. No, I really, really like Rummy Cube.
Another one of the straight up set collection, like the point is to make sets, is Lost Cities. You're trying to get as many of a particular card, a particular suit as you can, but in the order in which you need them. Because at some point, a particular card becomes useless to you if you've passed it in the numerical order already. And that is the interesting dynamic. When can I get rid of this card? I can't get rid of this 6 until you've played the 7 or higher. And then, oh sure, here you go. And then you're like, oh, that's the one I wanted.
Fun fact, I played Lost Cities for the first time last week.
Really?
Yeah, it was, so Ambi and I on our Twitch channel played Targi and Lost Cities. Both are classic 2-player games that everybody really seems to enjoy. Neither of us had played either of those games before, and so we got on Board Game Arena and played both of them, and I now see why both of those games are so well loved, and I want to play them more.
It has stuck around for a while. The only tricky part with Lost Cities is getting your head around the scoring, like the fact that you're investing. Was at least when it first came out tricky to get a handle on. Like, what do you mean I start out with negative points? Why don't I want to start out, 3 colors?
I pulled off an epic come from behind win because in the first 2 rounds, Ambi was beating me handily, and so in the last round, I put 3 of the bid cards on one color. Yes, the handshakes. I put 3 of them on one color, and I was like, we're going for this. And I was just able to squeak out a win, and it felt really satisfying.
So I'm looking to see if there are any others of the straight-up collection games. The only one I wanted to pull out is the meta game that I pulled off the shelf, and that is the Board Game Geek game from Richard Breese. This one was sort of a promotional tie-in for the Geeks. What was it, 10th anniversary? What did it say? Yeah, 10th anniversary of the Geek, which they've certainly well past now. I don't know if I haven't played the game in a while, but you represent both a publisher selling your games and a collector trying to collect certain types of games. So it's a game about collecting games that's also a set collection game, and it gets a little too Inception at that point. But I can never get rid of this one because my face is on the side of the box. Because they took avatars of geek users at the time, and so I'm somewhere in here. Is that me? Yeah, there I am. I'm holding my curling broom.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you can't get rid of that for sure.
So what are some other games that use set collection to do sort of a larger task?
So that is what I pulled off my shelf. I don't have as many pure set collection games. And actually what's interesting is I've noticed that there are a decent number of small card games that are more purely set collection. But those, if I own those small card games, they tend to be in my quiver, which are a little bit harder sometimes to pull out. But something like Herbaceous, for instance, would be a really good example of a set collection game where you're trying to pot different herbs into your pots in specific types of sets. But if we're talking about games with just set collection as part of it, you could go just about to any genre of game and find something that involves set collection, like QE, which is a bidding game, but you are trying to collect different companies of different types based on where your country is located and the type of industry that the tile is related to. QE is still one of the most beloved bidding games in my collection because you get to bid any amount of money you want, and that is just fun.
Coralu says she wants to see the avatar on the box. Let me see if I can turn on a light so we can actually illuminate the box a little bit. But let's see, where am I? Nope. There I am. So I am there. and trying to get it to with the mirror image thing here. It's not gonna. You can just see my head.
Yeah, we can see your head. It's blurry, but we can see your head.
That's me with a curling broom.
All right, so if we're talking other set collection games, a lot of drafting games involve set collection to some degree. One that I did not pull in that regard would be Ethnos, where you're drafting cards from the table, or Sushi Go,
yes,
where you are drafting cards that are getting passed around the table. Lots of set collection. I mean, this one, I would say this is about as pure as not being completely pure as a set collection game can go, because that's pretty much all you're doing in this one.
There's a lot of roll and write games that are pure set collection. The Let's Make a Bus Route, which you talked about 2 weeks ago, is very much, and the more of a particular type you get before you score them, the more it's worth. So there's even a little bit of pressure luck there too.
And then we kind of spoiled it earlier when we only saw 5 copies on my shelf, but technically, when you are throwing your gladiators into the arena, you then collect sets of gladiators back out of the arena. I'm saying Strike is a set collection game. Fight me.
Well, it's just as much of a set collection game as it is a thematic gladiator combat game. I'll give you that.
Oh, okay. Well, you can talk about your face. That one, you're literally my brother going nana nana boo boo. Like, that is exactly what you did.
So this we mentioned one Alan Moon game with Ticket to Ride, but Airlines Europe is another one. It's a stock game. Where you are collecting sets of the stocks. In fact, a lot of stock games can be considered set collection, because the more you have in a particular commodity, the more it's going to be worth at the end of the game. But there's sort of a drafting as you collect these. You notice this one's signed. Tom gave me this copy. He doesn't even remember giving it to me, but it's a signed copy. He's like, I own this already. You want it? Like, well, okay, it's signed.
Chat mentioned a couple games. John Brown said, would Azul be a set collection game? And I would say absolutely. I think in most of the Azul games, you are drafting tiles to collect sets of tiles. And regardless of which Azul version you're playing, you are definitely trying to collect sets there. And then Coralu mentioned Point Salad, definitely a set collection game.
Yep.
And pretty pure at that. And gosh, Point Salad is so fun. It shouldn't be as fun as it is for as simple as it is. Gosh, I really like Point Salad.
Dan asked, did anyone say set? And I guess, yes, technically it is. You're trying to, but the game of that is spotting the set to begin with. As you're looking at these patterns and trying to outrace your opponents who are thinking way faster than you.
Yeah. But yeah, I literally went through like BGG and like, there's so many games that have set collection as part of the game. So then I'm not going to talk at length about this, but I actually went on a deep dive about why humans like the psychology of collecting items, because when I saw that so many games involve set collecting, my brain went, well, why is that? Yeah. Why is that a mechanism that is so popular, so common, and so pervasive? And needless to say, there are a whole bunch of reasons, and scientists do not completely agree on why humans like to collect things. There's a whole bunch of different trains of thought from like Carl Jung and Freud and other stuff. I can drop a link in the chat if people are interested. I found 8 different views as to the psychology of collecting. Like, it could go all the way back to like caveman days, where if you collected food, then you were more likely to survive than people who didn't, because then when things got bad or cold or the food disappeared, you would be the ones who would live on. And so there might be something innately in us that wants to collect, but there's a lot of other reasons as well. And so, yeah, I found a really interesting article. I'm going to put it in the chat in case anybody is curious.
This becomes a TED Talk at some point.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff like that I really love to do, is like find something that interests me and then dig a little bit deeper to learn something. And I don't know if anybody else in chat will be the same way, but this is 8 different schools of thought as to why people collect things. And I thought it was interesting. So
very cool. Yeah. One other that I would be remiss if I didn't mention, Pandemic. This is the old school copy, by the way. Because the whole point is that you are trying to cure those diseases and collect the cards that you need to do so, but also keep in mind all the fires that need to be put out all over the map. You can't just focus on the card element and the set collection, or you will lose. And that's half the fun, is how much do I spend worrying about the set collection. At some point you go, well, we need to still win the game, so I'm going to collect these cards.
Right?
The last thing I wanted to mention is the Canesia scoring rule. You familiar with that term?
No. I mean, I know of Canesia, but I don't know the Canesia scoring rule, I don't think.
Maybe this is just me that says it this way. But like in Tigris and Euphrates, you're collecting 4 different colors of cubes by building stuff on the board. But you have to basically collect them evenly, because your score at the end of the game is the one you have the least of.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of Canesia's games, and other games too, have used that. It's very simple to do. It doesn't matter if you have 12 blue cubes. If you only have 3 black ones, your score is 3. And it's effectively, for each set you've collected, it's a point. So you have to collect them evenly. And so a lot of Canesia's games are set collection games.
I think I saw a couple of his on the list when I was scanning through everything. But yeah, basically, there's a lot of games that involve set collection.
Yeah.
And who knows why that is. But I think one last point from me that I think is interesting is there are a lot of mechanisms in board games where people are divisive about whether they like them or not. Like, I think area control that we mentioned earlier might be one of those. Like, there are people who say, I really like area control games, or I really don't like area control games. I don't think I've heard that either way as much about set collection. Like, I don't remember like in any, real, like, oh, I love set collection games, or oh, I really don't like set collection games, because set collection does kind of seem to be glue for a lot of games that hold them together, or like for something that's more pure. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't exist at all. Some people are going to say that thing, but I think it's less common than other mechanisms to be divisive. Right. If that makes sense.
Well, I think you're right. I think a lot of people, or I have not seen people say they dislike set collection, probably because it's such a wide thing. You just said almost everything can have some element of set collection. It's not a very narrow category. But even amongst those pure set collections, I think there's so much that's sort of at the core of our basis in game playing in there that it's hard to really say, Rummy, I can't, no.
Right.
I really dislike runs and straights and 4 of a kind, terrible.
Oh my gosh, I love Bettina's comment in the chat. She said, totally random, but thanks for entertaining me while I make 4 lots of cookies and cupcakes.
Delicious.
I am very jealous of whoever is in your immediate vicinity as you make those treats. I would like some.
Yes.
And
yes,
not
indeed.
Just because I've been on a low-carb diet since the beginning of April and I desperately want a cookie from anywhere right now.
Yes.
All right, Eric. Well, we've already run over we don't have an end time, but like our general hour, so to speak. But we can hang around for a couple more minutes. If anybody in the chat has any questions for us, I will say I have no information about the new Dice Tower studio whatsoever. So
I don't either.
We don't. We live elsewhere, so I'm sure you all are very curious to see what is happening at the Dice Tower headquarters, but we don't have info about that. But if you want to ask us about other things, please feel free. And while you are thinking of a really amazing question to ask us, if you enjoyed tonight's show or our show every 2 weeks, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button below the video. We just had 1 thumbs down appear within the past 2 minutes, so clearly somebody is not happy with what we got going on here.
They just don't like set collection.
You know what? That's the thing. They were like, oh no, I gotta express my dislike of set collection games. But yes, when you all hit that thumbs up button, it really does help the YouTube algorithms, which are ever changing and always fickle. And we really, really appreciate it.
Indeed. A little bit of the discussion going around is what's the difference between hoarding and collecting.
Okay.
And I think it's probably that it's the dividing line between being a healthy activity and not. or when it
Yes.
affects other aspects of your life. You know, you can be a passionate collector of something, but as long as it's not interfering with, say, work or your hygiene, then it's okay. And that's what I keep telling everybody. I don't have too many board games. I still go to work and take showers. I'm good. It's
Yep.
not hoarding yet.
Absolutely.
What is the future podcast schedule of the Dice Tower podcast or this podcast? That's a good question. We should be
Or
doing
my
this,
podcast.
or your podcast.
Yeah, there's so many
There's a
podcasts.
lot of podcasts. We should be on a 2-week schedule. I believe, and I actually haven't talked to Crystal about this yet, but we might have to do a little bit of a jig jog during the Summer Spectacular, which is coming up in early July. We might have to do a 2 weeks in a row, or 2 in a row, and then a longer break because it will be during that period of time. But we haven't decided what we're doing yet. And no, Coraloo, we have not really fully planned the 100th episode, although we're talking about some possibilities.
Yeah.
We might be playing more games. I think we might be pulling out some favorites and playing some of those favorites with the chat more than usual. That might
Absolutely.
be a go. Liz says, "Way to set a low bar." Well, I aim to please. Yes.
S. Ren asked, who are we more excited about returning to Star Trek, Worf or Q? So now, Worf, I don't think Worf has been confirmed for any of the TV shows.
No, I think it was a video game.
Yeah, it was a video game. But the fact that they are bringing Worf into the video games again does potentially lend itself to the fact that he may end up in one of the shows again. If Worf were coming back, I would 100% be more excited about Worf than Q. And I'm not hating on Q, but like, Worf is more multi-dimensional as a character than Q is, not at the least of which because Worf got fleshed out so fully over two different shows. Particularly Worf in Deep Space Nine, I really, really love. Like, his relationship with Jadzia is absolutely beautiful, and so if Worf were to come back, I would be very, very excited.
I mean, he's been talking about the Captain Worf series for so long. That's been floating around since the end of DS9. So everyone sort of went a little mad when he posted this, promo for a video game. Like, what? We're getting Captain Worf? And that's not what it actually was.
Yeah, no. I am super excited, though, about Star Trek Prodigy and Janeway's return. I am very, very excited to see Janeway back in action. Yes. And the renderings of her animated character are so good. And I'm really excited about all of the new shows, but like Prodigy especially, I'm excited about.
Yeah. Next convention you hope to attend. Is there anything on our radar yet?
That's a really good question. I think I'm now fully vaccinated, and so I am more comfortable with the idea of traveling, but being in large groups of strangers is still something that I don't think I'm fully comfortable with. My hope, my realistic hope would be PAX Unplugged for my first convention, I think. It's going to be in December. That's still a decent ways out. I know there are a lot of conventions that are theoretically slated to happen in the fall, but I think PAX Unplugged is going to be my first goal, unless, in theory, if the Dice Tower decides to go to one of the earlier ones and it makes sense to, I would do that. But then obviously Dice Tower West is going to be happening early 2022.
Yep.
And we have been meeting, the team here in Vegas has been meeting about Dice Tower West. We are super excited to have that convention be the kickoff, like the official kickoff of convention season in 2022. So tell all your friends. I have more info to share in the future, but nothing that I can share quite yet. Okay. But just know it is really exciting. We've got some neat stuff planned for that event.
I am psyched. I mean, definitely Dice Tower West. I like the idea of hoping for PAX. I don't think, even with international travel starting to open up, I'm not sure that Essen, that spiel is going to happen. That's not official. I'm not saying anything.
Right.
I'm not sure that's going to come together with such a large group. And
I want to go to Essen. Not this year, probably, but two of my best gaming friends are moving to Sweden, like
oh,
now-ish. And so I want to go visit them, and I figure a trip to Essen and Sweden all in one would be really great. So
I mean, if you're going to go for Spiel, make it a trip. That's what Steph and I did
yeah,
on the first time that I got to go to Essen. We made it a German adventure and traveled to places. She grew up in Germany, so we got to visit some of the places she used to live and make it a real vacation. It was really, really nice. I want to go somewhere, even a place I've been before, and see that airport in that town, and and go to the hotel I've stayed at before, or a restaurant I've been to before, and be like, oh, I love traveling. I'm just excited to do so. I mean, I want to do it when it's safe, and I want to do it when people are comfortable enough to be playing games together. But I'm seeing that light. I'm 1 week away from being fully vaccinated. My game group has set a date. We will be getting back together. The whole group is vaccinated, so a nice small group of vaccinated adults, and we're gonna play some games. And I'm just really, really excited.
nice. Yeah, I'm not restarting what was my public game group that I was running before. I'm not starting that back up, at least not for now, but I think I might try and do a smaller version of it, either like at my house or something else, just because playing in public spaces, I'm not quite there yet, especially because even if everybody in my group is vaccinated, there could be other people in the game store or whatever else. So I'm still kind of trying to suss out what that means for me. But two of my best friends are fully vaccinated and can come over to my house now, and that's just super exciting.
Is there a snoring dog in the room with you?
There is. Oh my gosh, can you hear her?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's probably
hold on.
That's probably the point that we should stop.
Okay.
We put the dog to sleep.
Let me hold on. I will.
They're up now.
See if I can. Can you? Oh, she woke up. Hold on, that's back. Yeah, she was snoring pretty good back there. Hi, darling. Are you okay? She's literally like, "What are you doing, Mom?"
I was busy.
Just lay back down.
I was sleeping. What do you need?
Yeah. It's okay, darling. I'll see if I look this way for a minute, I'll see if she lays back down.
If you make it to PAX, Crystal, we are definitely playing something together.
Yes, please. And I feel like I'm gonna potentially be a little bit rude in a way that, not rude per se, but some people find it off-putting or rude when people from media, Dice Tower or otherwise, play games with each other instead of the public. And I am going to state right now, I usually try and avoid that as much as possible and really try and be a personality and interact with as many people as possible because I love doing it. But I'm going to play some games with my gosh darn friends. And Eric, you and I are playing a game, and we'll bring other people with us.
Yes.
We'll play games with some people, but I am going to be a little bit selfish because all of these people that I love so much, I haven't gotten to see now in so long. Yeah. And we'll see how that goes. I'll probably feel guilty about it afterward, but whatever.
I mean, you can play a game with friends and then play with other people. It just means more games. More games.
All right. Well, thank you so much, chat, for joining us this evening. This has been an absolute delight, as always. We will be back in 2 weeks on May 12th. Dear God, it's going to be May. Justin Timberlake all over this place. So May 12th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern is the next time you can catch Eric and I. We appreciate you all joining us for tonight. But until then, I'm Crystal Dax.
I'm Eric Summerer.
And you've been watching Dice Tower Tonight.
Thank you for watching. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. Crystal and I will see you in 2 weeks for another installment. Our show is supported by viewers like you. Thank you. Dice Tower Tonight is produced by Crystal and me with assistance from Tom Vassell, Mike Delisio, Roy Cannaday, Chris Yee, and Rob Searing. Binding blunt swords together for greater efficiency provided by Tie Dull Blades. Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by GameNerds.com. Give us your feedback on the Dice Tower Guild at BoardGameGeek on Facebook or Twitter, or by emailing us at crystal@dicetower.com or eric@dicetower.com. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network. Find something new at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all of us at the Dice Tower, have fun gaming.
I love Chris Yee showed up in the chat right at the end. He said, I can never make these, but I can tonight. Doh, it's over.
Well, thanks for coming by, Chris.
We love you, Chris. Thanks for showing up.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.